Hey, welcome back to Overtime. We're at the shop today. We're going to be building a live scope mount for my Carolina skiff. So far it's the best design that I've seen. Let's go check it out. So this is our design. We are using a couple ram mounts, 1-inch PVC that is sleeved on the inside, and for our shaft we are using a shallow water anchor. Just got picked this up at Bass Pro. So the reason we went with this design, we've tried just 3/4 PVC pipe, 1-inch PVC pipe. It's very flimsy. It has a lot of movement to it. With this design, we have stoutened up to get a much clearer image. So now we're going to break down on how we made these parts. So going this ram mount here, I'm going to list the ram mounts on a little info sheet in this video. This ram mount fits a 1-inch PVC the best. So there's a 3/4 PVC inside of here. It makes a nice bushing to tighten everything up. So let's get started on how I built this. Alright, so step one is our 3/4 inch PVC. We're using Schedule 40 3/4 and Schedule 40 1-inch to build this, the shaft holder, I guess you may call it. So in order to make a 3/4 PVC fit into a 1-inch, you have to cut a slit into it. So that way it fits together nicely like so. This makes a nice tight fit on the shallow water anchor that we have. So let's show you how we split this. I'm using a cutting wheel on a grinder. So make sure I got a good angle here. I'm using the guard as a depth gauge. So I just kind of run that disc right down this piece of PVC pipe. Like so. Make sure you see that good. So that way you're not cutting the backside also. You just want to get just deep enough to cut. Now, if this is above your skill level, you know, ask for help. Find somebody to help you out. I'm not advocating for anybody to do anything that they're not comfortable with. So I want to be clear on that. So let's get this set up and I'll show you how I'm going to split this up. I do advise a dust mask and safety glasses for cutting this PVC. It's pretty dusty, so. I'm just going to do like 2 foot at a time, and then I'm going to slide this out and keep going. Alright, so I am going to be making two. One for the front of the boat and one for the mid mount. Now me personally, I'm using the mid mount. That's just how I want it set up for fishing for now. But I was wanting to build one with the front also. So you know, anybody that wanted to possibly put one, if you've got if you're putting your live scope on the front of the boat, you're going to have your mount there. Now, to answer a question, some of you are thinking, yes, they do sell these at Bass Pro, or sell mounts for live scope. But for my boat personally, they're just a metal stand. They just don't fit well on my boat. I've got a Carolina skiff 198, nothing fancy. I feel like this will work great on lots of deep V's. If you just don't want a big hunk of metal standing up on your boat, I feel like this is a great way to go. So just measure what I've got here. So the one that I've already made is 20 inches. And for the front of the boat, we're going to make one that's 48. Alright, so now we're going to cut our 1-inch PVC pipe. Just about the same length, maybe a shade longer. So now, as I said, we've got the slip cutting pipe. You can see it there. About 1/8 of an inch is what I was shooting for. So this will now fit inside this 1-inch pipe. Now it's a little tight. You have to kind of, you have to beat it on there. So now that will fit really tightly on our 3/4 inch shallow water anchor. So now we're going to put caps on each end of this. Alright, so pro tip here. You've got to get a hole in the center of this cap. Pretty precise. So I have made myself a small tool. Piece of 1-inch PVC that has been split, and then a piece of the 3/4 that's been split. Slide those together. Slide them inside of your cap. So now I'm going to use a 3/4 inch paddle bit, and I'm just going to use my drill and start this just to get myself a point inside of my cap. Then I step up to one size larger. This is a 13/16, and we're going to drill that hole out to a 13/16. That'll give yourself a little playroom. You don't want it to be too tight on your shaft. Alright, on to our next step, priming and gluing. Now, I don't like to get the purple primer any further up the PVC. I don't like seeing that myself, so I just kind of make it neat. But the primer is supposed to make the glue stick better if you're not familiar with plumbing stuff. So anyway, there you have it. Alright, so here's what we've made so far. Now, it's just simply, the way I'm using it, I'm just simply turning the handle to rotate it. It's the way I'm doing it. Now, it was just a smidge loose, or if it is, that's one wrap of electrical tape. Just snugged it up just that last little bit to make it a nice fit. So now the question is the bottom half. So these shafts come 8 feet long, these shallow water anchors. I've got a Carolina Skiff 198, like I said earlier, and I've got it cut off at 6 foot, and that's plenty deep for my boat in the mid mount. Now if you mount it up in the front, so I made it this length so it's a nice, comfortable height for me to operate. If you're standing on the front deck, obviously it's going to have to be higher. You need to leave your shaft long. That's going to be adjusted in each instance on where you mount this thing. So the bulk of this video is for you to understand the ram mounts and how I got this nice stout connection here. So now we're going to do basically the same thing we've done here for a foot on the bottom to hold our live scope sonar. This is a very similar procedure. I'm just making a 6-inch version of the same thing. Splitting our pipe, put that together. The only difference is I'm using one with 13/16 hole, one 1-inch cap. The other cap, I'm going to simply drill a 1/8 inch hole in the bottom. This one will go on the bottom. The reason for the hole is to let water drain out if you're in freezing conditions. Hopefully that little weep hole will get the water out of this deal. Glue it together. Now, so we've got our 6-inch live scope mount. Slide right on. There's just a smidge of play in there. So to tighten that up, I'm going to use a little bit of electrical tape. I think one wrap is going to do it. I'm going to put it in 2 places. I feel like it's going to really, oh yes, it's hard to get on there now. Okay. So our mount is going to go, I'm going to put it right there at the bottom. That leaves you this small space right here. We're going to use a 1/8 inch drill bit. I'm going to offset these 2 holes. I'm going to put a couple of screws in here. Don't go all the way through. We're going to be using a number 6 by 1 inch stainless steel screw. Alright, the screws that I have a tapered head. I'm going to use a countersink. Be sure that head's nice and smooth down there. I recommend doing one side at a time so you don't accidentally get the holes off from one side to the other. There's one. Alright, now let's put our mount on. This is, adjust the camera just a little bit. This is the important part. Alright, so I'm going to get my handle up there level. And I've got to get this square with that handle. That way your livescope is pointing in the direction that your handle is pointing. Alright, so in my boat, to store this so I can move from one spot to the next, so these ram mounts, you can simply loosen them up, and I just spin it right around. I've got C-deck, so I'm just letting it rest on the C-deck. That's how I would move from one spot to the other. Every boat's going to be different. Obviously, you'll just have to work it out when you get your boat. But this ram mount makes it very versatile. So you can flip it around all sorts of directions, tighten it back up. They're very versatile, fit any boat. Same way in the front. So on my boat, I've got a striker T-top, and I had these antenna mounts left over because I use a handheld radio. So I bought an additional Ram D-size mount. That's what I've got here. And the purpose of this was so when I'm going down the road, I can store Ram mounts. They come apart really easy. I'm impressed with the way they operate. So see, I can tighten that up, and as I'm going down the road, also use a parachute cord. So I can tighten it up here, and I've got a clevis mounted on the second antenna mount, so I can wrap around this. So as I'm going down the road, this thing's nice, secure. It's off the bottom of the boat, because I do a lot of traveling. It's 3.5 hours to the saltwater for me. So that's just a bonus there. If you can get these extra parts and you feel like you need a better place to mount it. It didn't take too long to assemble all that. So we're going to do a little freelance footage here with I'm using a GoPro Session, so this is interesting. So this is my D-size Ram mount. So I'm going to give you the part number. So to mount it very solid to my boat, I used a piece of PVC board. That's a piece of 3/4 PVC board that I cut down. So when those screws go through, they've got something solid to run into. And you could do that on most any boat, I do believe. You see I got a couple more screws to put in. I have test run this thing. I was very pleased with the performance. The shallow water anchor They do cost about 89 bucks. Your RAM parts, I'll put the prices on. I believe I had around 120 bucks. I'm not for certain. I will check here shortly, but I will put all that info. And just so you know how I mounted my head unit, I put my head unit on a RAM swivel. Those are just 1.5 inch balls here. I believe these are size B. Each size is designated by a letter. The further in the alphabet you get, the larger the balls get. So I just swing this thing right around, so when I'm standing in the middle of my boat, I can operate, and that's just how I enjoy doing mine. I didn't want this unit up on the front of the boat. I wanted it back here in the middle. May change that later. One thing I am going to change, I got the mid-length dog bone, I think is what they call these. I am going to get the longer one, so when this unit swings around, it gives me a little more room. But hey, I hope this mount makes your life easier. I picked this Live Pro up, Garmin Live Pro at Bass Pro on Black Friday. It was 1,500 bucks off. And I feel like there's a lot of folks out there that are right now trying to figure out how to mount this thing on their boat successfully and neatly. And the mounts that you buy are between $350 and $500. This is a little cheaper. I mean, you still got a lot of parts to purchase, but it just fits my boat better, and I hope that it fits your boat as well. So if you like our videos, like and subscribe, share them. We want to keep making these videos, and I would love to buy a camera nicer than a GoPro Session 5. So help me out. Share these videos. Maybe I'll make some money. And we've got a lot more coming from the shop. Also, check out our recipe videos. Got lots of good stuff. Easy recipes, difficult recipes. Hey, we're going to have some fresh fish recipes before long. We get our live scope on the water. Thank you. From the Overman Shop, have a good day. Overtime, baby. All right, I just want to give you a closer look. Like I said, this came with my Striker T-top antenna mount. You can purchase these separate. If you've got 2-inch pipe, you could purchase this to put it on any T-top if your T-top's 2-inch. So then here on the bottom, as you can see, I'm just going to set this right here for a second. That's simply how I go down the road to keep my live scope in a good, safe position. So, yeah, just a little bonus there, help you out.